There's a record crowd of over 100,000 at the 2.5-mile Kьялами circuit near Johannesburg, and it's hot and humid for the third World Championship Grand Prix of 1979 after the Argentinian and Brazilian Grand Prix. The championship table, Jacques Lafitte in the Ligier leading with 18 points. Second, Carlos Reutemann, the Lotus driver, 10 points. Third, Lafitte's teammate, Patrick Depailler, another Ligier, 9 points. Fourth, the top British driver, John Watson in the McLaren with 4. Fifth, Didier Pironi in the Tyrrell, and sixth equal, Villeneuve and Andretti. There is Jacques Lafitte, the man who won brilliantly in the Ligier Cosworth Ford car in the Argentine and Brazil, and he means to win this race too, but he is not in pole position after practice here at Kьялами, because amazingly on the left in the front of the grid is Jean-Pierre Jabouille, another Frenchman in the 1.5-litre turbocharged Renault. To his left and your right, Jody Scheckter, the South African, out for the first time in the brand new T4 Ferrari. Behind in the second row, Gilles Villeneuve in the other Ferrari alongside Niki Lauda in the Brabham Alfa Romeo. Row 3, Patrick Depailler in the Ligier and Jacques Lafitte in the... And there is the horns, and alongside them and standing by his car is Jean-Pierre Jabouille, very proudly indeed, the man from Paris in pole position, the Renault behind him. Jody Scheckter getting ready, the South African, driving in front of his home crowd and meaning to win in the Ferrari. His teammate is Gilles Villeneuve in the second of the two T4 Ferraris, and then Didier Pironi, 7th fastest after a 150-mile-an-hour crash in practice. Mario Andretti, though, is only in 8th position after practice. The reigning world champion, he's had a lot of trouble with his Lotus 79. And James Hunt in the Wolf, with which he's not too happy, is only 13th fastest, the 1976 world champion. But Niki Lauda, 30 years old, just 2 days ago, world champion in 1975 and 77, is 4th fastest on the second row of the grid. There is the grid. To the left, Jean-Pierre Jabouille. To the right, Scheckter. To the extreme left, Gilles Villeneuve. The red light, the green, the race is on. It's 78 laps, 199 miles, and Jody Scheckter leads. Villeneuve second, Jabouille third, and Niki Lauda fourth as they go up to the right-hander at Crowthorne. And it's Scheckter leading in the Ferrari. Behind him, Villeneuve, and Jabouille is going to take them both as they go into Crowthorne. In the 1.5-litre, 500 horsepower, turbocharged Renault, it's the Frenchman, the ex-Formula 2 champion of Europe, Jean-Pierre Jabouille from Paris, with Jody Scheckter on his inside, and now cutting through as they go down towards the Yuckside sweep. It's Jean-Pierre Jabouille, a brilliant sight. The magnificent Renault, with which the Renault technicians have struggled hard to make it reliable, and it's leading a Grand Prix for the first time in its 2-year history. Jabouille, humid and overcast, into the S's, and that's a third gear, over 110-mile-an-hour bend. Into Lercop, a second gear, 95 miles an hour bend. Up into third gear, into fourth, 135 miles an hour, and Scheckter is alongside, and Villeneuve behind him. Jody Scheckter challenging Jabouille as they punch away down the finishing straight at over 150 miles an hour. Up into the kink for the first time, down to the end of the first lap, and it's Jean-Pierre Jabouille, followed by Scheckter, followed by Villeneuve, the two Ferraris together. And now Villeneuve is going through on the inside on lap 2 to try and take Jody Scheckter, and he does it, and the French-Canadian is up into second position. Jabouille leads. And in fourth position, it's Jacques Lafitte, followed by Jean-Pierre Jabouille, and Arnoux in the yellow Renault has almost lost it. He slows right down. He's passed to the left and right by his fellow competitors, and now he's got it under control again and is away after Alan Jones in the Saudia Williams. But it is still on lap 2, the yellow turbocharged Renault of Jean-Pierre Jabouille, chased by the Ferrari T4 of Gilles Villeneuve, and it's starting to rain at Kьялами. Here at Kьялами, it's starting to rain. It's going to really affect the race this now, because all these cars are on slick bald, non-treaded tyres. If it gets any worse than this, they will have no wheel grip at all, and Scheckter's going to take Jabouille, and he's done it. Jody Scheckter leads. No, Villeneuve leads. Jody Scheckter right behind him, and Jabouille is down to third position. The Renault is third. Scheckter in the Ferrari is second, and Villeneuve in the Ferrari leads. So the two T4s are leading, and Jabouille takes Scheckter. Incredible! Jabouille is going to go through into the lead, and he does it. What an astounding race. The Renault has really come good. Lap 3 at Kьялами, and look at the way Jean-Pierre Jabouille, now that the turbocharging is really working, look at the power going down, and Jabouille is pulling away, but the rain is coming down. You can see plumes of spray at some points of the circuit coming up from those ball tyres which are aquaplaning on the surface, and that's Scheckter. Scheckter in the white helmet coming through and trying to take Jabouille and doing it. And there is the spray as Scheckter retakes the lead on lap 3 with Villeneuve now up into second position. Down to third position goes Jean-Pierre Jabouille, and those three are a long, long way ahead of everybody else as they go into the S's for the third time. Scheckter, Ferrari. Look at that water. The rain is now hammering down. The spectators huddled under covering awnings. Through to the end of the third lap. Jody Scheckter almost losing the end of the T4 Ferrari with its brand new bodywork. And the South African crowd going wild. Scheckter won this race in 1975 in a Tyrrell. That's Jean-Marie Balest, the controversial head of the FISA, stopping the South African Grand-Prix, waving the red flag as he rightly should, because it is incredibly dangerous to drive under these conditions on bald tyres. And they are bald, and it is raining. But what a magnificent opening. Now the question is, what will happen? Because it is here very, very heavily overcast. There are heavy rain clouds overhead. The rain is bucketing down now as Jody Scheckter tours in, the water streaming up from the tyres of his car. But Scheckter and Villeneuve must feel very, very happy indeed. They are on French Michelin tyres. Most of the other competitors, with the exception of the two Renaults, are on Goodyear tyres, and Scheckter and Villeneuve and Jabouille leading the race, which is now in its closing stages as far as the opening part of it is concerned. 3 laps completed, out goes the flag. Jean-Marie Balest, the very controversial head of the governing body of motorsport, has taken a wise decision as a result of the stewards saying stop the race, and Scheckter now touring in with Villeneuve, and you can see how bad the conditions are. There is, in the yellow car, Jean-Pierre Jabouille, and they are going into the pits, and the rows of catch fencing at the back, those poles and the wire netting, are literally to catch cars if they spin off. Scheckter, and the Ferrari pit is right at the beginning of the pit lane. The yellow and white umbrellas are the Ferrari mechanics. Jean-Pierre Jabouille. Behind Jabouille in the blue and white Ligier is Jacques Laffite touring in. Depailler, Jacques Laffite's teammate behind, and the rest of the entry, including James Hunt there, Fittipaldi in the yellow car, Alan Jones in the white Saudia Williams, behind him Patrick Tambay in the McLaren. And that is in the red car, Nelson Piquet, the Brazilian driver, who has happily recovered from his foot injury incurred in the Argentinian Grand Prix. But now there is that agonizing and miserable time when, with the rain bucketing down, all that the officials, the competitors and the mechanics can do is wait. But there is optimism, because the skies are lightening overhead. It looks like a typical South African Johannesburg rainstorm which will pass over. If it does, hopefully the skies will clear, the sun will come out, and there is Mario Andretti looking as though he is getting ready, and Jody Scheckter is getting ready. It's an hour later Jody Scheckter, that's Villeneuve, the coolest man in motor racing. The two Ferrari drivers, Jody Scheckter being carried into the car so that the soles of his shoes don't get wet and slip on the pedals, which would of course be highly dangerous. And I notice that Scheckter's Ferrari is still on slick tyres, bald, non-treaded tyres. And at the beginning of on the left, that's interesting, the race is being restarted and Villeneuve's car on the left, because they're lining up in the finishing order, Villeneuve's car is being changed onto wet treaded tyres, whereas Scheckter's car is still on dry tyres. And this time the race is going to be over 76 laps, 194 miles, and you can see that it is a risk that Scheckter is taking because it's still very wet, as Colin Chapman in the white jacket and Teddy Meyer confer. They're the head of the Lotus and McLaren teams respectively. Now, already on the left in the pole position, Villeneuve, Scheckter. In row 2, Jabouille, who was 3rd, Lafitte, who was 4th, Pironi in row 3, who was 5th, and Lauda alongside him, who was 6th. And the second start, and again it's a Ferrari, but this time it's Villeneuve with Scheckter 2nd, Jabouille 3rd, and Lauda going through. Niki Lauda in the V12 Brabham BT48 is in 3rd position and displacing Jabouille, or is he? It's Villeneuve, Scheckter, Jabouille, Lauda, and behind Lauda it's Jarier in the Tyrrell and Mario Andretti. The two Ferraris, Villeneuve on wet treaded tyres, don't forget, and incredibly, Jody Scheckter on dry, bald, slick tyres is holding 2nd position. But Gilles Villeneuve, the diminutive French-Canadian, that's number 12, 27 years old, from Quebec, although he lives at Nice during the European season, is leading and taking full advantage and nearly losing the Ferrari there. Taking full advantage of the open circuit ahead of him, of the heavy treaded wet tyres underneath him, to reach through the water and grip the tarmac. But the sensation is Jody Scheckter in 2nd position on bald tyres in spite of aquaplaning. And he's taking a chance that the circuit will dry out and that he will then be in the position of not having to change tyres, and that's Jan Lammers. Jan Lammers is off the circuit and into the catch fence, but seemingly all right, as at the end of lap 1, Gilles Villeneuve completes the lap with Jody Scheckter 2nd, Jean-Pierre Jabouille in 3rd position, and there's the battle for 4th between Jean-Pierre Jarier and Niki Lauda. Villeneuve into Crowthorne, the right-hander, over 120 miles an hour. From Crowthorne down to Barbecue Bend, it's Scheckter 2nd and Jabouille 3rd, and a long gap before the 4th and 5th then, who are Jarier and Niki Lauda. Villeneuve, T4 Ferrari, it's this car's first race. They led the two Ferraris at the end of the first section of the South African Grand-Prix, which was stopped. They are leading again. Gilles Villeneuve, there he is, taking the left-hander down towards the S's at Clubhouse Bend. From Clubhouse, 3rd gear, over 100 miles an hour, into the right-hander, round Lercoq, up into 3rd gear, 4th gear, and all the time, Gilles Villeneuve is pulling away. He's got that enormous advantage of no water on his visor. The right tyres, the right performance, plenty of torque from that lap 12, 500 horsepower Ferrari engine, and he completes lap 2. Behind him, Jody Scheckter. Behind Scheckter is Jabouille. Over the line, Ferrari. Renault, and the Renault is closing up on Jody Scheckter. Jarier is in 4th position. Lauda is 5th and Mario Andretti is 6th. And Jabouille is going through on the inside of Jody Scheckter. The Renault is doing it again, the turbocharged Renault. Jabouille, driving the race of his career, is through into 2nd place after having led the first part of the race. And Jabouille is pulling away from Jody Scheckter. Jody Scheckter handicapped by the dry tyres. There's the leader, Gilles Villeneuve. Lap 3. Gerrier is in 4th position. Lauda is up in 5th position. Mario Andretti 6th, and in 7th position, the second of the 2 Elf Tyrrells, driven by Frenchman Didier Pironi. Looking now at Clubhouse Bend, and again Villeneuve nearly loses it, and that white car in the background is not the second place man. It is Clay Regazzoni, the Swiss driver in the Saudia Williams, who has had trouble already in the race and has already been lapped by there. Number 12, Gilles Villeneuve, the race leader. In a class of his own. The ex-Formula Atlantic champion of Canada and America. And there's Regazzoni, not in the running, of course. He's almost being lapped. Jadwi there in the yellow Renault in 2nd place. Scheckter is in 3rd. There's the gap before Gerrier goes through in 4th position. Niki Lauda in 5th position. And Didier Pironi well up behind Niki Lauda as the 2nd place and the 3rd place men go round the clubhouse. That's Gerrier in the blue Tyrrell in 4th position. Niki Lauda. Didier Pironi is in 8th position. Fittipaldi is in 11th place in the brand new Copasu car, its first race. And still the weather conditions are bad, but it is starting to dry out, and John Watson there in the McLaren loses it. John Watson was in 11th place, has lost at least another 3 places in the process. It's not a very happy season so far for John Watson, although he finished 3rd in the Argentine. And there is Gerrier in the Tyrrell, number 4, the Frenchman who drove so brilliantly for Lotus in America and Canada last year. And Niki Lauda's coming to the pits and out. Niki Lauda, number 5 in the Brabham, has taken a chance, is changing his tyres early, and John Watson reversing. He's overshot the pits, and he'll surely be penalised for that as Riccardo Patrese, the young Italian, goes past him. John Watson into the pits to change his tyres. And this is where seconds count. The McLaren team mechanics are brilliant at this. Up goes the car on the jacks. Out comes the pneumatic hammer. Off come the front wheels and tyres. Off come the rear wheels and tyres. The mechanics put on the ring nut again. John Watson sitting impassively there. The front is down. The pneumatic hammer has tightened up the front nuts and now the rears. And John Watson will go punching out of the pits any moment now, rejoining the race on the right tyres. It's still very wet. You can see the water glistening on the circuit. It's a real test for drivers. Jody Scheckter, number 11, in the T4 Ferrari, the South African, the winner in 1975 in a Tyrrell. Then he transferred his allegiance to Wolf, and now he is closing up on Clay Regazzoni to lap him. Jody Scheckter in 2nd place behind his teammate Gilles Villeneuve, a long way ahead of Jean-Pierre Jarier, who is in 3rd place ahead of Mario Andretti, 4th, and Niki Lauda now in 5th place. There is Jarier coming down the straight out of the kink in 3rd position ahead of Niki Lauda now, and Villeneuve there in the lead has closed right up to the 6th place man as Hector Ribac, the Mexican, goes past Jacques Lafitte, who is in the pits. That's the man who's leading the World Championship, Jacques Lafitte, and Hector Ribac in a Lotus 79 as Jody Scheckter laps Clay Regazzoni, goes past the Swiss driver. And Jody driving an absolutely inspired race, fighting every inch of the way on those slick, dry tyres, although now that the circuit is starting to dry out, and you can see the dry line emerging, the lighter, whiter line on the circuit is where the tyres have cleared the water away. That's the line that Scheckter is following. That's the line that's giving him the grip, and behind him is Jarier behind Mario Andretti. The leader of those cars is Mario Andretti, and Jarier is down to 4th position ahead of Niki Lauda, and the 4th of those cars is the race leader, Gilles Villeneuve, who has therefore lapped everybody up to 5th. Mario Andretti then, 3rd position. Jarier in the blue Tyrrell, 4th. Lauda in the Brabham Alpha, 5th, and into the pits goes one of the drivers as across the line goes Mario Andretti, followed by Villeneuve, 4 cars behind him. And Jarier now is up into 3rd position. That's Jean-Pierre Jarier, the Frenchman, 33 years old. He's been driving in Formula 1 for some time now. He's driven for Shadow, he has driven for ATS, he's driven for Lotus. He's showing his class again because he's passed the world champion up into 3rd place. There's Andretti, Mario, Lauda and Gilles Villeneuve, number 12 in the Ferrari. And don't forget that Gilles Villeneuve is on wet tyres. They'll be starting to heat up now, and if they get too hot, they'll start to chuck, and he will have to come in and change them to slicks, as Jody Scheckter, his teammate, is already on slicks, driving along in a very reassured state of mind, no doubt, in 2nd position. Andretti, followed by Lauda. World champion in 1975 and 77, Lauda. The reigning world champion, Andretti. Villeneuve, number 12 in the T4 Ferrari. And Villeneuve sees that it is. Villeneuve's going into the pits. This is the race leader, Gilles Villeneuve. His tyres are overheating. Now let's watch a pit stop and see how Ferrari tackle it in comparison to McLaren. And as the Ferrari mechanics whip off the front and the rear wheels and tyres, and the car is up on all its jacks, Jody Scheckter has taken the lead. Ferrari leads and Ferrari second, but the order is changed. Villeneuve wheel spins his way out of the pits. He's only taken 16 seconds to change all 4 wheels and tyres. An incredible performance. But he is now down to 2nd position. The circuit is drying. Jody Scheckter, in front of his home crowd, is leading the South African Grand-Prix, and the 2 T4 brand new Ferraris are 1st and 2nd. Lap 19, and Jody Scheckter is right with Niki Lauda, but almost a full lap ahead of him. Niki Lauda in 5th position. Jody Scheckter now the race leader. Brabham and Ferrari. And Jody Scheckter comes out of Lauda's slipstream and takes him on the inside in a beautiful passing manoeuvre. Niki Lauda sees him in his mirrors, moves over, and Jody has absolutely got a beautiful winning rhythm now. He's on a dry circuit, he's on dry tyres. He's got the circuit weighed up perfectly. The new car is obviously absolutely superb, and Niki Lauda, in spite of the V12 power behind him, can't do anything about it. Although the Brabham is so much improved at South Africa compared with the Argentine and Brazil, that it's obviously got a fabulous future in front of it. 90 degrees is the temperature here at Kьялами now. The sun has come out, it's burned its way through. The tarmac is heating, the tyres are really working, and Scheckter's making the most of it. Scheckter leads, Villeneuve 2nd, Jean-Pierre Jarier in the Tyrrell 3rd, Andretti 4th, Lauda 5th, and Jacques Lafitte, the Frenchman, is in 6th position, having come out of the pits. Jean-Pierre Jarier is driving a magnificent race. He's storming his way up through the field, making the maximum use of that 500 horsepower. And the Renault looks as though it is now reliable. It finished a race for the first time at Brazil. It was in pole position after the conclusion of practice for Kьялами, and he's really got it going again. But Tombay is in trouble. Look at the near side front aerofoil of Patrick Tombay's McLaren. He's obviously hit something, probably another competitor, through going too close, and that tipped up aerofoil will of course be affecting the handling of Tombay's McLaren very badly indeed. But he seems to be going very quick indeed, the Frenchman, as the race leader Gilles Villeneuve goes on his way. So now Scheckter leading, lap 46. Jody Scheckter leading Villeneuve, and there goes Scheckter. Villeneuve behind him in second position. Mario Andretti is into third position now, the American world champion. But it seems to be Scheckter all the way, and that's Jacques Laffite. Jacques Laffite's Ligier, the man who is leading the World Championship, out of the South African Grand Prix. No points in this race, but Laffite seems to be perfectly okay himself. A win in the Argentine, a win in Brazil, only in about fifth position at the beginning of the race after practice, but in good shape himself in spite of this crash, and that's good news. Two-thirds of the race completed then, and all is confusion between the officials, the lap scorers and the journalists about what the positions are, because there have been so many changes with people going into and out of the pits. But one thing is for sure, and that is that number 11 there, Jody Scheckter from South Africa in the T4 Ferrari, is leading the South African Grand Prix with over two-thirds of the distance completed, and seemingly nothing can stop him. Villeneuve is in second place. Jean-Pierre Jarier is in third position. There goes Jarier. And the field is getting... Scheckter locked up a wheel. Scheckter locked up a rear wheel. That puff of smoke was from his tyre. And that means to say it will have flat spotted it. He will have a flat on the tyre now. If he had any reservations about his tyres before, he will certainly have them now, because that near side rear tyre and wheel assembly will now almost certainly be out of balance with the flat spot on it thumping the ground. And Scheckter is coming round to complete another lap. Into the right, into the left. And he's in trouble. Jody Scheckter is in trouble. There's the sign. Out goes his hand. He's slowed down. It looks as though Jody Scheckter is going to come into the pits. And if he does, it will... Yeah, there's the reason. Look closely at the near side front tyre as Scheckter's hand goes out again, and you will see that it is going down. Jody Scheckter is in trouble with the near side front and the near side rear tyres, and he's coming into the pits. Well, Villeneuve led, and then Scheckter took over. It looks as though just the reverse is going to happen now. Scheckter gesticulates at the tyres. Under go the jacks again. Mario Forgieri, the Ferrari team chief, talks to him. On go more fronts, on go more rears. Out go the pneumatic hammers. The seconds are ticking away, and Gilles Villeneuve has gone through into the lead. 23 seconds is all that pit stop has taken Jody Scheckter, and he rejoins the race in second place behind his teammate Villeneuve. So the brand new 1979 first race Ferrari T4s are still in first and second places, but now it's Jody Scheckter in second place, Gilles Villeneuve in first position, Jarier is still third, Mario Andretti is fourth, and Jody Scheckter has got comparatively few laps left now, only about 15 laps left, in order to try and catch his teammate and win the South African Grand Prix for the second time. And he means to do it. Scheckter in the white helmet. The Ferrari looking superb, handling beautifully. And I noticed that he has still got his safety light on at the back, the visibility light, which was switched on at the beginning of the race because of the spray being thrown up to prevent other drivers ramming the Ferrari, and several of them have got the visibility lights on. And Scheckter is really on his way now. He's after Villeneuve. This Ferrari has been tested for hundreds of miles at the Ferrari test circuit at Fiorano, and number 12, the race leader, Gilles Villeneuve, getting towards the end of the race. This incredible young man, 27 years old, Formula Atlantic champion of America and Canada in 1977, made his Formula One debut in a McLaren works car in the British Grand Prix of 1977. Immediately created an enormous impression, got a Ferrari works contract, led the American Grand Prix West at Long Beach at the beginning of last season, led for a long time the Italian Grand Prix at the end of last season until he was penalised with Mario Andretti, but finished magnificently by winning his own Grand Prix at Canada. He's starting off the 1979 season as he finished the 1978 season in sparkling form. So Gilles Villeneuve starts another lap, goes down to Crowthorne, into the right-hander there, into the downhill section. This is fourth gear and 135 miles an hour to Barbecue Bend, on to the left-handed Yup-Sai sweep, which is some 120 miles an hour. From there on to the Sunset Bend, and from the Sunset Bend, which is a 110, 115 mile an hour third gear bend, into Clubhouse. From Clubhouse down to the S's, Gilles Villeneuve leading the South African Grand Prix from his teammate Jody Scheckter in the Ferrari T4, down to the S's, the left and the right. From there down into second gear to Lercoq, up into third, 110 miles an hour. Breasting the rise up at the kink, 150 miles an hour he's doing here in fifth gear, and down into the top straight to complete another lap. Gilles Villeneuve then leading. The Ferrari looking magnificent, and Jody Scheckter is gaining. That is Jarier. Number 4 is Jean-Pierre Jarier in the unsponsored, incredibly so, Tyrrell, catching up on ex-world champion, double ex-world champion Emerson Fittipaldi in the brand new Copper car and taking him and lapping him. Jean-Pierre Jarier ahead of Andretti, and that's Andretti just coming out of the kink and closing up 2 on Emerson Fittipaldi to lap him. Jarier in the blue Tyrrell ahead of the yellow Copper car. Then Mario Andretti in 4th position. That's Jarier. Jean-Pierre Jarier, who has come right back with a bang at the end of 1978 and the beginning of 1979, and Mario Andretti, the last of the cars you can see, is closing up on the new F6A Copper car of ex-world champion Emerson Fittipaldi, who is persevering so hard to get that car right. It's a new car, and Andretti right with him. Is Fittipaldi now going to move over and let Andretti through, or is he going to keep him back, which he can do by just staying on the racing line? He moves over, Andretti goes through. Now perhaps he can close up a bit on the third man in front of him, Jean-Pierre Jarier. Smoke, dust in the background, somebody's gone off. That's Andretti we're looking at, and somebody has gone off the circuit. There he is. It's number 9, Hans Stuck, the big German, and you can see him by the offside front wheel trying to pull something out of the suspension. It's a catch fencing stake. The car's gone off, it's collected the catch fencing, and Stuck mercifully is perfectly all right as the ATS is pushed away. Fittipaldi into the pits, tyre change. Emerson Fittipaldi, like almost everyone else, has had to come in. His wet tyres with the heavy tread are overheating. They're going off, he's losing grip. In he comes, new tyres all round. Out goes the Copper car F6A. Wheel spin, just look at that black streak. Villeneuve leading. But number 12, Gilles Villeneuve, will, I think before very long, stop. Alan Jones spinning. Alan Jones has spun right off as he comes out of the kink. He punches his safety belt release, jumps out, and that looks like John Watson going into the pits, and that's a 150 mile an hour bend in the background, and down towards him comes Jarier. Jean-Pierre Jarier in 3rd place, a magnificent avoidance, and the Williams could hardly be in a more dangerous, exposed place. What are they going to do about it? If the marshals try and recover it, there will be a danger of a tragic recurrence of what happened to Tom Price in the shadow 2 years ago when a marshal tried to get across the circuit and was hit by Price's car, and Tom Price was tragically killed, and they're going across. A whole flood of marshals are risking themselves, and they're doing a magnificent job. Getting Jones's car out of the way. Now they will lift it. It's quite light at the front and they'll be able to drag it round. What a mercy that that car is out of the way. And so now Jody Scheckter, with a light red haze no doubt before his eyes, lap 4 out of 76, can see Gilles Villeneuve ahead of him, a long way ahead admittedly. Gilles Villeneuve, there he is, leading on lap 74, about to start the penultimate lap. With Jody Scheckter, his teammate, closing up, up, up all the time. Villeneuve over the line, and then Scheckter in the background. That's how close it is as they go into lap 75 out of 76. Into Crowthorne. Villeneuve, the race leader, pounding along behind him. Number 11, Jody Scheckter in second place. What a fantastic debut for the new Ferraris. First and second all the way, and it's going to be a storming finish. Jody Scheckter in second place. South African in South African. Is he on his way to his second victory? There's the man who'll stop him if he can. It's Gilles Villeneuve, the race leader. About to start very shortly, lap 76 out of 76. Villeneuve leads, Scheckter third, second, Jarier third, Andretti fourth, Reutemann fifth, and Lauda in sixth position, and Villeneuve is into the last lap. And that's Scheckter. He's closing up. He halved the gap between himself and Villeneuve. Jarier there in third position. Behind him, Mario Andretti fourth and closing up too. Second is getting closer to first. Fourth is getting closer to third. Gilles Villeneuve on his last lap. Only about half a lap to go. On his way to his second Grand Prix in his second year of Formula One racing. There's the checkered flag. It's almost home for Gilles Villeneuve. And he's going to win. The French-Canadian must win. He does. The Ferrari mechanics go mad. That's Jody Scheckter just behind. Another 2 laps and it might well have been different. But the Ferraris have finished first and second. A magnificent achievement as Gilles Villeneuve tours home. Jarier comes home in third position. And there in the background, he's just failed to do it. But Mario Andretti gets World Championship points. As Villeneuve tours in 9 points. Jody Scheckter second, 6. Jean-Pierre Jarier gets 4 points and Mario Andretti gets 3. Carlos Reutemann finishes his third out of 3 Grand Prix in 5th place, and Niki Lauda takes his 6th position. Villeneuve wins at an average of 117.8 miles an hour, and Ferrari win their 74th Grand Prix and all-time record. 2 jubilant men, the French-Canadian, and on the right, Jarier, the Frenchman. Jody Scheckter is not on the rostrum, but they are justifiably proud of 2 magnificent drives.